Hello my cuties! Welcome! Today we will be going over the new Fire Emblem Heroes update and the arrival of Book 9, which will be all about the Asgard realm. We will also dive into a bit of lore. Starting off, let's talk little about the lore and what we can expect. Asgard, the only realm left to be explored in Fire Emblem Heroes, is home to the Aesir, which is located somewhere in the sky. It was also where Valhalla, a great hall where Viking warriors who died in battle would go to and wait to be called once again for a final battle, Ragnarok. Which isn't just Celica's tome. So my theory goes that this might be the book that ultimately marks the start of Fire Emblem Heroes' version of Ragnarok, which could very well be the next book after a major event leads to great war in this book. Makes even more sense to me since next book will mark our first decade with this game. Moving on to the FEH channel, Rune has arrived to Asker after fleeing pursuit. He is officially our first male free-to-play book introduction character. Could have worded that better, haha. FE made a point to emphasize his stone tablet, which is bound to be important. This could tie into Alfader and how he is said to have written the Twilight runes, which prophesies the destruction of each god of Zenith, once again bringing to mind Ragnarok and the end of an era. The name Alfader is itself an allusion to Odin's title of All-Father. Rune is a light mythic colorless infantry tome, which I look forward to trying out in my free-to-play Abyssal tutorials. He is voiced by the same voice actress behind Ash Ketchum. He is equipped with colorless tome, Odor of Creation, which could be a tablet with the story of creation of the world of FE. Perhaps we'll get some revelations? He also comes equipped with Flare, Sly Mirror, Font of Wisdom, and Pulse Up. Ploy. Special thanks to Sheriff Angerel for this summarized version of the new unit's skills. His tome has the slaying effect and grants the new effect Empathy, which seems to me like a lesser version to Brave Crom's effect, where he gains stats based on his non-stat bonuses and penalties. Empathy can grant up to 7 to all of the stats. Both effects trigger at the start of both phases. His tome also grants him extra effects if he is within 2 spaces of an ally or initiates. He can gain up to 14 to all stats if he has 3 allies within 3 columns or rows. He neutralizes penalties on himself and deals true damage up to 25 depending on how many bonuses or penalties he has. Lastly, his tome also grants him Null Guard. His preference B skill, Font of Wisdom, inflicts attack, speed, resistance -7 at the start of both phases to FOs within 2 spaces of another foe. It also inflicts in combat debuffs akin to foe penalty doubler, deals damage 20% of his resistance, reduces non-special damage reduction by 50%, and reduces damage inflicted to himself from the first attack by 7. His C skill is a bit of an amalgamation of the Ploy skills and Time's Pulse.
Among the new characters of the book is Balder, who seems to be Dawn-themed compared to her sister, Hodder, who is Dusk-themed. They are both in pursuit of Rune and Alphonse for their supposed crimes. Alphonse and the Order are being accused of scheming to dominate the 9 realms. This is our new poster for Book 9, and in it we'll see Alphador. However, there also seems to be 2 more characters we have yet to know anything about. Mainly this girl with pink-tipped hair, similar to Henriette, and to that extension Sharina. Next to Alphador, we have this bespectacled lady. So far we know nothing about her, but given her proximity to Alphador, I assume she has some higher position of power than Balder and Hodder. Perhaps she could be Frigg from Norse mythology. Book 9 will have a celebration, and that will include a login bonus, quests, a new castle design, and double experience and skill points. The login bonus will have the following, and the celebratory quests the following. Whole lot of 9s, except for the orbs. We could have had it all. It's not too much to ask, is it? Oh well. Moving on to the other raids quests, we'll be getting these rewards, and finally our new castle design. The new banner will include Hector, and with Hector that marks 2 down from my bingo card for this book. Hector is an attuned hero whose X skill is Distant Counter. Yep, you heard that right. Distant Counter. Here's a summary of his skills. He is an armored sword unit that comes with Fellowship Blade. His sword grants him the slaying effect, and at the start of both phases, and if he is within 2 spaces of an ally, he grants himself and those allies defense and resistance +6, a bulwark effect, and Null Panic. If he's within 3 spaces of an ally, he inflicts a penalty during combat of 20% of his defense +6. He also deals damage equal to X and reduces incoming damage by half of X, both excluding area of effect specials. X equals the highest total bonuses among unit and allies. Lastly, his blade grants him the guard effect. His preference a skill, Oath of Ostia, grants an additional 5 HP, and after unit acts applies Divine Vein Stone within 2 spaces. Useful if you want to trigger someone's fortification skill. If foe initiates or foe's HP is greater than 75%, he inflicts -10 to his foe's attack and defense and grants himself a special jump up to before foe's first attack akin to Lagu's friend. And he also reduces non-special damage reduction by 50%. Wily Fighter 4 debuffs his enemy's attack by 5, deals damage and reduces incoming damage by 20% of his defense, guarantees a follow-up and neutralizes foes' bonuses. He also comes with Armored Beacon, Attack Defense Twin Far Save and, as previously mentioned, Distant Counter X skill.
Next up, Rearmed Leela, who comes with Arcane Sly Knife, which is very reminiscent to Arcane Bloodgang except for daggers. She is a colorless dagger infantry unit, and her Arcane Sly Knife grants her slaying up to 14 for all her stats based on 25% of her foe's attack -4. Neutralizes foes' bonuses to speed and defense, deals damage 15% of units' attack including AoE, reduces damage from foes' first attack by 7, special jump of 1 before units' first attack, and the dagger effect. Her B skill Dark Perfume grants special cooldown -1 to herself and inflicts undefended to closest FOs and flash to her closest FOs and any FOs within 2 spaces at the start of turn. If she is above 25%, she inflicts -5 to her foe's attack, speed, and defense during combat and deals damage 20% of her speed including AoE. She also gains Null Guard and Disarm Trap. Her C skill, Lookout Force, grants her Canto 2, and when Canto triggers, she enables Distant Swap, which is a 2-range swap action. She also gets attack speed +4 and neutralizes her penalties to those stats. Uther, Hector's less sexy brother, joins Asker as well. Okay, I'm only teasing, he's sweet. Haha! He is our demote unit and his skills show it. At least, Special Fighter and Defense Tactic will definitely help when inheriting their level 4 versions. Along with Uther, we will be getting Vida and Oswin. This update will also make it possible of recruiting units up to version 6.11 in Binding Worlds. The SP you gain when merging will also increase tenfold. In addition to that, we'll get a new AR structure called Calling Circle, which will be capable of spawning another Brave Felix and any other unit that fits the requirements on turn 3 during offense in other raids. The reinforcement will gain extra stats equal to 2 Dragon Flowers per merge on the applicable mythic unit and will gain an extra action that turn only. So get ready for 5 action Summer Gulvig and 4 action Felix. These will be the requirements for the reinforcement. Keep in mind that even though the reinforcement does not grant extra lift, a defeat of the unit can count toward the number of defeated units. This will affect lift gain when on the offensive, meaning less gain if your reinforcement is defeated in offense, and lift loss when on the defensive, meaning if defeated by your defense team, you could potentially lose less points when your defense is a failure but you defeated the reinforcement. Safe defense can now be leveled up to level 2. Calling circles can only be used if you have an applicable mythic hero, which will be a mythic hero of the current season, spreading on or after version 9. More are soon to come, so get ready my cuties.
See you next time.